Okay. So I feel like not that I feel like it's been a while since I recorded my last video. I said 3 weeks ago. My last video was on Valentine's, and if you can't tell, I'm a little sick. Yeah, it's really bad. When I get sick, it's really bad. I know that's like a guy thing. When guys get sick, it's like really bad. But for me, it's like it's like it's terrible. Um, yeah, I'm gonna keep this video short. I know what I want to talk about because this is something that's been on my mind for a long time. I want to say a long time, but just from when I recently found out about it. I think I found out about it in like January or like beginning of February. Today is, let me see. Actually, don't know what today's day is. Today is Monday, March 9th, 2026. It's 7:20 a.m. I have class at 8 a.m. So in about like 40 minutes. So like I was saying, I want to keep this video short. Or try to keep it short to the point. But yeah, when it comes to, well, first off, my birthday passed. I don't really tell people about my birthday. I don't really like celebrating my birthday. The only people that really know my birthday are like my immediate friends. So probably like the five and six of them. But yeah, my birthday was on the 27th, 2006. I just turned 20. Yeah, a lot of people think that I'm older, but no, I was 19 the whole time. I've just turned 20. But yeah, so aside, I'm not gonna get into astrology and stuff like that, but my sign is a Pisces, and I already know everything about Pisces. Like, yeah, like I basically know everything there is about Pisces, and it's whatever. Actually, let me turn off the car real quick because I don't know how it's gonna affect the audio. But yeah, I was curious because I actually didn't know, but it's kind of like an obvious thing to expect. But I wanted to see what my birth flower was like. Apparently, for like every astrology sign or like whatever, you have like a flower for your birth from when you were born, and unironically, this color. The flower is named after a color, and the color is like literally in my top 3, maybe top 2. But the flower for my birth month is violet, literally the color violet. Which is funny because I love that song by Tory Lanez. I'm a huge Tory Lanez fan. But yeah, the color violet, or the flower violet in this case. But I think it's like ironic because, like I was saying, violet or purple, probably most likely violet. Like, I'm a sucker for a good shade of purple, but it's ironic because, like I was saying, it's literally one of my favorite colors. But when I was thinking about it more and more, like, I started, not that I was trying to make it more deep than it was, it's just a violet, like the flower. But like the more and more I started like thinking about it, and like I was saying, I'm not trying to make it, oh, he's just making it deeper than what it was. But like I just started to form an opinion on the color violet, or like how I feel about it. And violet or purple is kind of one of those colors on the color scale where it's kind of complex. It's not like a natural, like your red, green, blue color. It's a little bit more like complex, at least from what I know from art class, from when I did art. But I think what's beautiful about the color violet is that it has like, and this is my opinion, it has 2 tones to it, like 2 personalities, kind of like, which kind of defines me a little bit. Because when I think about it, like, I think my life, out of all the colors on the color wheel, out of all my favorite colors, I think that my life more correlates, is more, what's the word I'm thinking of, is more similar to the color violet. And this is why. So I think that the color violet has like a shade of brightness but also darkness, But the thing about it is that, you know, it's kind of like both a little bit. And, you know, you can use like the color purple or like violet as like a darker color on the color wheel, but you can also use it as like a bright color. You know, like if you were to, I don't know, make like Halloween decorations. By the way, my favorite holiday is Halloween. I love Halloween. Um, like if you were to have a bunch of Halloween decorations, like I think purple or violet could be one of those darker colors you could use. But also, if you had like a field of flowers and you were to see like the color violet, it would be one of the brighter colors you would see, in my opinion. Which is kind of like ironic because, you know, it's like a color that's both. Which you could say the same thing for other colors, like in my opinion, red. Um, you know, I wouldn't say orange. I say like green, red and green, like one of those like colors too that kind of like it falls towards. Maybe green on the darker side. I think red is both like dark and red. You can use it as. It's kind of weird. It sounds like I'm bullshitting, but like again, it's like my opinion and my take on it. But I was saying like the color violet kind of correlates to my life a little bit because I have those moments where not necessarily dark thoughts, you know, that I have or may have here and there. You know, nothing like crazy like that, but how I have those moments in my life where if I look at it in a negative way or like in a dark kind of way, it's like, okay, I can kind of see how purple, like the color violet, kind of correlates with my life because I'm not always happy all the time, or I may seem negative or may feel negative, or how I'm just like, you know, not always positive and whatnot. But if I started to see the color violet on like a brighter side, a more like joyful side or whatever, I could start thinking about like the things that can make me happy, what I look for in a day to try to make me happy. Try not to let the negative things or the things that affect my mindset too much get the best of me, you know. And like I feel like that kind of correlates to what I was saying earlier. Like depending on how you use the color violet, like you can use it as like a darker tone or like a brighter tone. And like I was saying right now, like I think that kind of correlates to me because you can have those days where, you know, if you want it to be a bad, not necessarily want it to be a bad day, or you can have those days where it can be a bad day, but you can also try to find like the good in those bad days and try not to let the negativity get the best of you. As like a lot, I'm not the best at explaining things. I'm trying to like explain to the best of my ability. Like I kind of hope you guys like know how I'm trying to explain it a little bit. But yeah, but I was saying like it's ironic because like for like the past almost 2 years, like that's kind of like how I lived life. Like besides living in like hatred and negativity, like I want to try to be happy. I want to try and be at. Oh my god, my bad. This is like completely off topic, but like the sun is rising right now. But what was I saying? Like besides for almost 2 years of my life, like besides living life in negativity and stuff like that, I try to find the happiness in like my hobbies and basically anything because, you know, it gets tiring, you know, being so full of hatred and negativity. And as much as I like want to be happy, like it's hard. It really is hard. But, you know, sometimes like I try not to compare so much because everyone has their own problems and everyone deals with them differently. Like I try not to tell myself like, oh, I have no reason to be sad or I have no reason to not be happy because there's other people who have it worse than me. And that's true, you know. And as much as I try to be grateful, as much as I try to say like, okay, you shouldn't be acting like this, there's people who have it way worse than you. Sometimes it just gets like the best of me and stuff like that. And I shouldn't be comparing because it's just not gonna help. You know, like I was saying, everyone has their own problems, their own difficulties that they all have to manage and get on their own. And compared to how I have it, it's definitely not as bad as other people, and it definitely is not as bad as it was before compared to a few months ago. And I do want to talk about that like in a different video too, you know, just so I can kind of know what I want to say a little bit. But yeah, But the irony in like the color violet is kind of like, wow, it's crazy. Like I was saying, how it correlates to my life, but also my favorite color being the violet. And unironically, I think the violet, like the flower, might be one of my favorite flowers just based off the colors. I don't know too much about flowers. Um, like I know somebody once told me like their favorite flower was the Asian bleeding heart. I think it was called like something like that. And I looked at it and I was like, bro, that's a crazy ass flower. I think one day I want to like not research, but like kind of find out about crazy flowers. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like the color violet is such like an extraordinary color to me, and it's so unique. You know, maybe it might be basic to a lot of people, like, oh, it's just purple, just say purple. I'm like that too sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, I think that when it comes to nature, like violet is such like a beautiful color, and the way that it correlates with me is like, even like violet is such a beautiful color, and because violet reminds me of me, it also makes me think that I have such a beautiful life. And even though, depending on, like I was saying earlier, depending on how you see it and how you view it, it can either be like, oh, you can have it as dark and negative ways. You can have it in that kind of sense, but you can also have it in like a beautiful and maybe not always brightful, but you can have it, you can see it and view it in a beautiful way where, you know, maybe not everything isn't so bad. And I definitely have those days where everything isn't so bad, but you know, it's ironic. I love the color violet, and that being like my birth month flower is kind of crazy. When I found out about it, I was like, wow, that's crazy, bro. I love the color violet, and unironically, the flower being the violet, it was just like, wow. Yeah, I'm trying to think because I don't want to end up the video and then I remember I want to say something else. I feel like that's pretty much it. This wasn't really like a long video. It's only 12 minutes. But yeah, that's basically how I feel, how it correlates to my life, and it's gonna be so weird putting this as like the video title. I was thinking about putting the video title like the color violet, and people are gonna be like, "What, Tory Lanez?" No, it's just me talking about the flower, the violet. But yeah, I gotta stop slacking on the uploads. You know, I low key been busy too. Like I can't even lie. But yeah, what's today? Monday. I think the next video I might do might be on Sunday, or maybe next week on Monday. I don't know. But I definitely don't want to try to go like 2 weeks without uploading a video. But yeah, I think that for a lot of people too, like you guys should, whoever watches this video, you guys should really look into maybe not your astrology signs, but maybe a little bit more about yourself and like your birth month and stuff like that. I actually don't know my birthstone either. I actually want to look at. I probably found out about it a long time ago, but I forgot. But yeah, the color violet it's crazy. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about this video. It's just like a quick chat. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot. You know, purple being my favorite color and all. Negatives, how you can view it as negative or a positive way. And how the color violet is unique. I think I got that all covered. But yeah, it's 7:34 right now, so I might get ready. I might go to class a little early. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. Actually, let me get the thumbnail. All right, that's the thumbnail right there. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. Until next time.